Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Atousa Raissyan, who's here to share with us her new book, Change Yourself, Change the World. Transform your life from fear-based living to choosing love and seeing magic. Have you ever felt that you're stuck in a cycle of fear, doubt, or pain? What if the real transformation you're seeking doesn't come from the outside world, but from unlocking the power within yourself? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. So Atousa Raissyan is a life alchemist, spiritual mentor, shaman, and heart-centered healer. She supports individuals in releasing trauma, transforming fear-based patterns, and reconnecting to their truth through self-love. Atousa is the award-winning author of Change Yourself, Change the World, and her work has been featured in USA Today, New York City Journal, Entrepreneur Herald, and many more. Her clients call her a guiding light and pure magic, and she's been a featured speaker on podcasts, summits, workshops, and events worldwide. So welcome to the show, Atousa Raissyan.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
My goodness, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this book. What inspired you to write this?
The inspiration actually came from the work I was doing already with my clients, and I saw how the work was helping them. And also in my own life, as well as my clients, I saw that as you change yourself, as you heal those past wounds, those that come in contact with you, they change as well. They move into a better place. They start to heal as well. And then I wanted to share sort of all those things that I do in my session, say, okay, how can I give this in a book to people so that those that don't come and see me in person or don't find me, I want them to have some tools to be able to help themselves heal and find this space of love and peace inside. So that's why I started the book, and also sharing my own journey of how I came to be doing the work that I do now.
Well, I want to congratulate you. I mean, being a Nautilus Book Award winner, what a huge deal that is, and especially with this book. And it's easy to see why this book was definitely awarded this. One of the things I'd love for you to share with us is just your book emphasizes shifting from being in this fear base to love based living. Can you share with us how people can make that kind of transition? Because I think right now there's a lot of people stuck in fear.
Oh my God, how much time do you have? My favorite topic. It all comes down to first, and I talk about this in the book, you got to first take responsibility for your life. Because as soon as you take responsibility for your life, and this is not like I am a responsible person, but sort of you're saying anything that's happened before that got me to this point is my choosing. And anything that's going to happen in the future, it's my choosing. It's already been manifested. Everything brought me to this point, and everything else is going to take me to the next point. That's the responsibility I'm talking about. And that gets sort of like closes the circle of around you, that circle of life. So you're not blaming anybody, you're not pointing to anything outside of you. Everything comes back to what's inside of you. You're going to go in that way. And going in means being self-aware, aware of those emotions that are coming up, aware of those thoughts that are coming up, because that is going to show you all these, what I call identities or personas, characters in this movie of life that you're playing. And once you become aware of these characters, you'll see that there's so much fear in each character because of their past experiences and because of their worries for the future. So you'll find these roots of fear. And something funny with the self-awareness, as soon as you become aware, as soon as it becomes in your face, it starts to lose its power. And also, you get to recognize yourself more, your existence, your being. And that is how you get that start to love yourself, start to love your body, start to love your life. It's a process, but that's the first step, taking responsibility and awareness. And in that space of awareness, then you have forgiveness, you have acceptance, acknowledgement, you have trust building, you have, starting to trust your heart and open up.
There's a quote in your book that's really stuck with me, and it's your outside world will shift when you realize and discover that everything you want and are asking for is already inside you. I mean, what a profound realization.
It is. And how I got there, to be honest, my beginning point was the Rumi poem that I also have in the book, is that break those barriers of love. That if you want love, you got to love yourself. If you want peace, you got to find peace with yourself, peace inside. Whatever it is that you're asking the outside to give you, once you find it inside yourself, you see it all around you. But you got to be willing to see it inside. Take those barriers, those shields, those costumes, those layers off, and everything is already there.
So I know you kind of hinted at, and I'd like to dive into this a little bit, but you talked about self acceptance. And I really feel like that's an invitation for us to acknowledge our own truth. What practical steps can we take to start this journey?
The first step with self acceptance and even awareness is that take the judgment out. My clients are always so surprised that they find themselves, when I show it to them, how much they're judging themselves and the outside world. There's a constant good, bad, right, wrong. There's a constant measuring scale. So go in there with an open heart and be willing to be honest to see yourself. And if you're going with an open heart, with love, when there is no judgment, it becomes easier to see all those parts and accept them. And that self acceptance is that it's just like saying, yeah, I have a mole right here. Okay, it's a mole. But the reason we can't accept things is either because there are things that we don't want others to see or know about us, we want to hide it, or that we're judging it as bad. So that's when acceptance becomes hard. But when you take the judgment out, it becomes easy. A mole is just a mole. A cut is just a cut.
Your book touches on something I was really interested in, and it's about generational traumas and how that can affect our ability to really live in a free state. What practices would you encourage our listeners to use, not only to become aware of the generational traumas, but to start to unravel those?
If they're different things. First, let's remember, and I talk about this in the book, that everybody has a past. Everybody, we are not here. We didn't happen to come here yesterday or the day before. Our world has been in existence how many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So imagine everything that's been transferred to the next one, because how we operate is that if I have a fear and I have a kid or anybody that comes in contact with me, the way I will conduct myself and my life is through that lens of fear, is through the lens of protection and through the lens of control and judgment. So all those things that I do, then whoever's in contact with me, especially kids, they're going to take that. They're going to inherit that because that's the behavior they're going to learn and see. And they take it and pass it on and pass it on and pass it on. And if outside stuff starts to happen, like wars, famines, all these other things happen, it adds to that fear and what gets transferred. Just like the DNA, that things get transferred in the DNA, that emotional stuff gets transferred in the DNA as well. And all those causes for the diseases that we're having, whether it be cancer, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, they have an emotional tie to it, which is, again, when you say high blood pressure or heart problems, the first thing they ask you, is it passed down from mom or dad or both? Who has it in your family? It's always who has it. And that's the same thing, is because those are the indicators that those traumas, those emotions are passed down. And it's not a bad thing. It's sort of each generation comes to help out the generation before them, but sort of we get lost and we forget why we came. So we don't do anything about it. We transfer it hoping like, okay, maybe the next generation will take care of it. But that's what the generational trauma is. So if you have any kind of emotional problems, any kind of physical symptoms, that's an indication to this has been passed down. And when you find that the way to heal generational trauma, it is still through that self-awareness, acceptance, and love and forgiveness. The forgiveness is a big one in generational trauma because you're forgiving the past, those past generation that passed it on to you, yourself, and anyone else that you may have passed it on to.
That's such an important piece. And I think it's interesting when we look at like some of the habits that we acquire over our lifetime or the rituals or the just behaviors. And we can almost always trace that back to my great grandmother did this, or my great grandfather did this, or my mom, or somebody. So it's really, I think, such an important piece to be able to unwind a lot of that like programming.
It is. And you got to, again, it's, if you take the judgment out and you're honest, there is no right or wrong. There is no good and bad. They didn't know any better. The people that are doing the most horrendous things, if you go back into their generations, you see things have happened and they pass it on and pass it on, and now they are the way they are. So I think also having that empathy and compassion to say, yes, this is generational trauma. But when people sort of take it personal, they become like when they're faced with people that have trauma and they're acting out, they're like, well, what gives you an excuse to act out? It's not about excusing them and saying, if I say don't judge it as right or wrong, saying that this behavior is okay. We're just looking at it through a different lens and saying, I understand why this is like this. If you see a tree that the tree was bent a little bit to because there was wind or something they have to bypass. When you go out for walks, you see all these trees that they change shapes because there was a pole there was wires there, something happened and they shifted and changed the form. You don't, curse at it. You're like, wow, look, it had something came and it shifted. And that's why it turned out like this. You're not judging it. And even you look at it and say, wow, how beautiful. But that judgment lens is the one that causes us to be reactive and brings out the fear, and we start fighting and resisting. And, my way is my way. I got to protect my way.
So, with that in mind, and kind of to dovetail with this, how do we get to a place where we can forgive real bad past hurts or maybe something that could be unforgivable?
That beautiful question. I love that question. I say a lot about it in the book because you are not forgiving the person. You got to understand that our truth, our base, before we came into this physical form, is this energy form that it's not about good or bad. It's just pure energy. You want to call it pure light. Everybody has a name: consciousness, higher consciousness, God self, light, divine, universe, whatever you want to call it. That's us. That's within all of us. And that's the truth of who we are. But again, those characters, personas, identities that I talked about, those persons are acting out. So when you're forgiving, is that you're seeing this, there is a person, there is a shell, and it's not about forgiving this person. I'm forgiving this situation because I want to break this bond and get to my truth and hope that everybody around me, including this person, will see their truth. I'm cleaning my mirror by forgiving. I'm breaking those ties that I've tied to other persons out there, those their identities. My identity of this character has been tied to this identity of the other character, the other person. And I'm breaking these ties and bonds. That's what forgiveness does. So I don't have to carry it anymore. It's not forgiving the act, it's not forgiving, oh, the behavior or what happened. It's forgiving the past and forgiving, breaking those bonds.
What a powerful piece. And I know that this is something that a lot of people, and even myself included, struggle with when we get to this place of forgiveness. Is that something that you do sessions with people to help them work through that?
Yes, my sessions usually I figure out is customized to the person when they come for the life transformation sessions, past trauma healing sessions. Those are customized for the clients and part of the work. Yes, it is. We do a lot of forgiveness work, and forgiveness goes in layers as well sometimes because, as you said, there's some things that is really hard, and we're holding on to it so tight because also we're holding on because that character was built around this trauma. That character was built around this thing. So to that character, sort of that letting go is like a death. Well, who am I going to be without this? So we do a lot of work like that as well.
That is probably what you mean by the false identities.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's a very powerful piece. I would never have even considered that.
Yes. No, we clear those things out. That the main thing, honestly, all this work, whether you do it with yourself, by yourself, with someone else, it is again my favorite Rumi. You gotta clear your own mirror. You are here in this life, in this physical form, to clean out, to be a clean mirror, clear mirror for those that you come in contact with. And the only way you can do that is by when you get those triggers, know that, oh, I'm getting triggered. The trigger is mine. Let me go and find this character that's holding on to something so that I can bring them into the light and let them go. And the more you let these characters, these layers go, that's when your mirror it gets clearer and clearer.
That is such a great quote, and it really puts things in perspective when you look at it that way.
It is. We are all here because, again, the more cleaner you are, you feel that oneness with everybody else. You don't look at this shell that they have, you know what's inside of them, and they're just in a place right now. And you move. It doesn't mean like, again, when I talk like this, everybody's like, well, do you mean like if they come and hit you, you're going to say it's okay and let love? No, it's not about that. It's about there's going to be a flow and movement that knows what the person needs for them to see themselves. You will follow this natural flow of energy to bring out what they need at the point. Whether it's like the bear that wants to show its strength, it stands up and goes it's not to the bear doesn't it's not going to eat anything. It's just the way it's like, okay, this is what I have to do right now. It's a natural thing that it does when they fight or whatever they do. So when we move through our natural rhythm of life in those moments, naturally we know what we have to do or say or whether to move, whatever it is, it naturally comes to us.
Your book really kind of dives into also being able to have this deeper connection with our spiritual essence. I know so many people crave that. What would you suggest that our readers and listeners do to start stepping into a more connected self?
Two key points there. Again, awareness. Always awareness is number one because you got to go inside. Awareness takes you inside. and practicing love and gratitude. Not the love and gratitude, I'm so happy I have my car, I'm so happy I have my job, but even for the little mundane things that actually those are the most beautiful things to love and be grateful for. The sun is shining, and hits your skin. Oh my God, thank you. I love the sun. I love this window that brings the sun into my house. You get up and you love your pillow or your sheets. Oh my God, I love my pillow and my sheets. Thank you. So, whatever it is throughout the day, just find those things, anything that brings you joy, anything that makes you smile. I love this. Thank you. And then also, then that brings you to love yourself more and more, your body more. Practice love and gratitude for your body. I always say pick, and I think these are all in the book as well. Find things that are like 5 parts that are you can see with the eye, and 5 parts that are inside, body parts that are inside. And love and gratitude to those parts that you can really love. Like, I love my eyes. Thank you for helping me see. I love my intestines. Thank you for clearing out my body of those things that are unwanted, you know?
Such a powerful practice. Yeah, I have to commend you on the cover art. I was floored when I found out that you actually that's your art that you created, and I'd love for you to share about how this actually comes alive too.
Yeah, so I'm a digital artist, and as a digital artist, I also started doing augmented reality art, which means that when you look at the artwork, it's a free app for the users. The artist has to pay for it, but I tell the app when you look at this, when the user sees this image, superimpose this video, add this layer of this video movement to the artwork. So you'll see it that it comes to life. There's sound and movement, and there's like, birds flying, butterflies coming. There's one that has a hummingbird in there. So there's different things. Like for this cover art, you're going to see it's first is like grayish, bluish background, and then suddenly it lights up, changes color. The human is rising and it starts to have its wings, and then there's like sparkles everywhere. So it's a whole show. But yeah, that's my artwork. All my art's online as well, and they come in different sizes and shapes and medium. But yeah, um, so that's augmented reality art. The app, the book already talks about it in one of the pages on the first pages.
Yeah, what a just a profound book all the way around. What do you hope readers and our listeners take away from Change Yourself, Change the World?
I really hope for them to become more loving and kind with themselves, to find the root of those fears and behaviors that they have. And any shift in that, like I said, is going to shift the people in their lives. And right now, in our world at this time, we need those little shifts.
We sure do. Well, Atusa, I mean, your book is so profound. Where can our readers and listeners connect with you and be part of your community and learn more about your work?
My website is the best place, which is my first name, last name.com, atousaraissyan.com. But I'm also on social media, Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. All those links are on my website, as well as my email and my phone number are all on there. Go ahead, text me, email me, check through the website. There's a lot of different services for everyone. So I'm here to just help and be of service.
Well, you can definitely see that from your website. Now, you also do distant work with people, they don't have to be there physically.
Correct. Some of my clients, they don't live in my area, so even some of them that live in the area, they just don't want to drive, and we do it through Zoom. So it can be either in person or Zoom sessions.
Well, Tusa, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Make sure to pick up your copy of Change Yourself, Change the World by Atousa Raissyan at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all indie retailers. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.